What is up, jabronis? JJ back here on Pure Bets. Another live show talking baseball. Sorry for a little bit of a delay. It's kind of watching the end of this Zverev-Fritz match. Man, I just continue to get nut slapped right on the numbers with some of these spreads. But all in all good. I just came from the gym. LOL. Yeah, we're working here. As you could also see, a little sweat action. It's what we're about. And yes, I work out at Planet Fitness with all the other alphas. So, can't help it. Alpha's in the gene pool. Oh, also, I recently completed my microchipping, or as some people call it, the vaccine. So, yep, add me to the list. Just trying to stay safe. I did it for other people. I give back in that respect. And, you're all welcome for it. So if you see me around, vaccinated, like I said, or microchipped, whatever conspiracy theories you believe in. But yes, let's talk a little baseball. So it was nice to get the Orioles home yesterday. But my spirits aren't exactly where I'd like them to be right now. Considering I've had a few days in a row with some roughness in Wimbledon. But, all in all, I guess you just kind of got to take the lumps. Just kind of been a frustrating spell for me, specifically on the men's side in tennis. But, all in all, you just you kind of roll with the punches as best you can. Baseball, on an intermittent perspective, has had its highs and lows for me this season. But again, another sport where I feel like I've had some, and again, I get it. Most sports bettors, when they bet whatever sport, but baseball, whatever, you kind of find yourself convincing yourself that often, you always get the short end of the stick. But, perfect example is yesterday. I don't bet too many player props. I bet Zach Wheeler's under 7.5 Ks. And, I think Angel Martinez was back there, or Angel Hernandez, was back there. And, a ball that was 3 inches to the right of the plate, he rings up a guy for Wheeler's 7th strikeout, and he was already at a high pitch count. So, that would have put a guy on. And, then I'm sure the hook would have been short with Wheeler because he was already at 100 pitches. But like I said, I just can't get out of my own way with some of this stuff, call it bad variance, if you will. But either way, I'm just hoping I can find a sustained run at some point in the near future. Again, these solo videos have been good, but there's only 2 a week. The sample size is small. And how many people are going to sit here and tell you that they're kind of dealing with demons, betting sports when, some of these videos are doing really well. But, here we are. All right, so let's run down this slate. Now, these live shows between, myself on Saturdays and me with the crew, Holden and Joey, we've had 4 straight profitable live shows, so let's aim to keep it going here. I guess without further ado, we'll just dive right in. Let me make sure I got my times correlated properly on some of these, because I don't want to be going out of order. My name's not Holden Kushner, LOL. Hold on one second. Okay, first game, Yankees-Mets. Yanks lined at about $155, total 8.5. Montgomery versus Walker. Line to me, I don't often like betting. Is this going to be a doubleheader? Are they going to play 2 games today because of the rain out yesterday? It doesn't look like it. I don't. Off an extra delay, I do believe it adds some variance to the game. I think Walker's had a decent season, but he's a bit smoke and mirrors. I'm also not really a Montgomery guy either. But, with the game being played in the American League, I do believe it favors the Yankees. And I know that might seem silly, but the Mets are going to end up bringing in extra. It's not like the Mets sit guys that they're just, big bats that they're waiting to use in a DH spot. I think the line's justified. And overall, I'm not going to talk much on this game because I don't really have much take on it. I don't have much value on it outside of what the current market's showing. So just going to lay off that game. Now, Blue Jays Rays, so Ross Stripling, Shane McClanahan. Again, if you watch these videos enough, you probably know by now I am not a Shane McClanahan guy. He is a lefty that has some severe walk issues and has a bit of a home run ball problem. He's drawing the wrong team here in the Jays. Now, the line's small, and to a certain extent, I get it because Stripling is worse than he looks, or worse than his surface is. I know he's had a few decent starts recently, but he's just a tough pitcher to get behind when you're betting the Jays. So it kind of would lean me towards maybe just doing the Jays team total over, but you'd probably have to try to create yourself 5. Because I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I'd assume at a number of 10, you're probably looking at a split number of 5. Maybe some books will have 4.5 very heavily vigged. Some books will have 5.5 at dog money. So for me, you can create yourself 5 and bet over Jays. But again, you're betting a home team to go over 5 runs. And so they're basically going to need 6 runs in 8 innings, especially if they're winning. So it's just a spot that I'm not in love with. However, I do think they'll get to McClanahan here. The Jays just beat up on average pitchers, and I expect no different here. But with that said, Ross Stripling's a bit of a mess. You could bet the over, but I try to talk to you guys on numbers at certain parks, and this number's tipping the top of the scales for this park in Buffalo. But all things considered, I'm just going to stay away from this game. Pirates Brewers. So Eric Lauer, Cody Ponce. Now this is a game I'm going to be interested in what the lineup looks like, and I don't see one yet. For those that have followed these videos, I kind of like to jump on this Pirates team with their bats. However, they're not really hitting right now, and I always talk on when you're going to back bad teams in spots, you're going to back them. You're going to want to back them when they're actually hitting. The Pirates have 6 runs scored in their last 5 games, so they don't exactly count as hitting. And I know that they're going to draw Eric Lauer here, who's very vulnerable. I know his service is in the 3s, but he sucks. Just look at his advanced stuff. I mean, actually, he's been a below average pitcher for quite a few years now. I know he's kind of traveled around a bit. I remember him in the San Diego days. His ERA is 4s, but I mean, he's he doesn't strike out anybody. He has walk issues. He gives up home run balls. But a total of 9 means, in the way the spread is, you're going to have to get 4 runs from Pittsburgh. And not to say you can't, but Milwaukee's also got a good pen. So, I'm not in love with the Pirates end here, even if they have the right lineup. And I can't bet the Brewers here at 150. I know Cody Ponce has been tough to watch pitching wise, but he hasn't been as bad as that 7 ERA looks. The other thing is Milwaukee's coming into this game with 10 straight wins. And I want no part of stepping in front of that train. Now, granted, you could bet Milwaukee, but again, Eric Lauer, I mean, that is not fun laying $155 on the road with Eric Lauer. So I get it. They're winning and Pittsburgh's losing. So you get that perfect storm there. And maybe there's some inherent value, but overall, I can't bet a team that's not hitting in the Pirates, and I won't lay 155 with Eric Lauer. So it's another spot that I'm just going to stay away from. Now, Cincinnati and the Cubs, Tyler Mahle versus Alzolay for the Cubs. So Mahle has had some interesting starts over the recent stretch. I know that he came out early in the season, kind of guns blazing. It's kind of medianed out a bit. So I see the line here, $125, and I think somebody made a comment here. I'm really liking the rest of it. I have them at 170. What am I missing here? So first of all, Alzolay is a pitcher that does get some steam when he's on the hill. He's better than his 4.55 ERA says. And look, I get it. The Reds are hitting at least decent. The Cubs right now, anyway, can't get out of their own way. However, I haven't loved what I've seen from Mahle recently. And this is in Cincinnati, a total of 9 in warm weather. You know what it is? It's not that warm here, to be honest. I mean, I don't know what Cincinnati is right now. Let me pull up the weather. But I know here in the Northeast, in New York, New Jersey, it's not very warm today. So let me see what it is in Cincy, because, okay, so it's 80. It's not exactly cold. It's certainly not super warm, but that's warm enough for the ball to carry out of there. It's also going to be humid. But I don't really love anything on this side of things. Like, I know that the Reds might make sense at $125, and I can't argue that. Reds bullpen, though, has been a bit of a mess, so you'd really be hoping that they have a lead late, a bigger lead late at least. And if this game's tied, to me, advantage goes in favor of the Cubs. I know the Cubs have lost 7 straight, and they're a tough team to want to back. When any team that's lost that many in a row, I don't know why people want to jump in front of those types or jump on bandwagon with some of those teams. But I mean, look, the Cubs have scored 2 runs or less in 5 of their last 7 games, and then they scored 14 and 15 in the others. So a bit Jekyll and Hyde in that respect. Overall, it's just not a spot I really want to step in front of. You're noticing today, there's a lot of teams coming into today on big winning streaks or big losing streaks. And, how do you leverage value in that respect and find it where you can? For me, you just kind of got to still stick to the basics, right? And finding value within numbers. Tyler Mahle being a $1.25 here, I think that's market spilled into it. The Cubs losing. I don't think that they deserve to be a $1.25 here under normal circumstances, but I do think because the Cubs are, can't get out of their own way right now, that's why it's a $1.25. As far as capping it at 170, I don't know about that. To me, 170 would mean that you'd lay a run and a half with Cincinnati, and that's not really my cup of tea. So overall, going to be a stay away spot for me. Call it a very, very slight lean in favor of the Cubs if you can get plus 120. And I only say that because their losing streak is melted into this number. But normally this line would be closer to 110, 115. Again, Alzolay is a decent pitcher, and Mele's been kind of struggling, at least intermittently over his last few starts. So this is going to be a stay away spot for me overall, though. Okay, so Braves and Miami. Kyle Muller, Sandy Alcantara. Now, Kyle Muller is not a guy that we have all this much data on, right? The Braves brought him up recently, and he's been okay, I guess. I mean, I know that he's got some live numbers. He goes 4 or 5 innings, and they're bringing his pitch count back up again, or bring it back up to 90 because he went 90 in his last start. And look, give the credit. He's had some decent starts, a bit of a walk issue with the walks, but overall, hasn't been terrible. The problem is he throws from the left side, and the Marlins, while they don't exactly hit lefties that well, they have some pop versus lefties, especially in that lineup with Duvall, Aguilar, Marte. So it's not exactly a fun spot for me to want to bet the Braves here, knowing that the Marlins, this could be a spot where they pop. And the problem I've had with the Marlins is like the few times I've bet against them, the home run balls are flying out, and when I bet for them, it's just strike out on 3 pitches for every big bat in this lineup. So they're a team I can't really get right. And Sandy Alcantara's numbers on the road are far worse. And the Braves are no stranger to Alcantara. They've seen him before. Alcantara doesn't deserve his 4-7 record, though. He's pitched much better than that. But again, he plays for a team that doesn't really score. So for me, there is slight value in favor of Atlanta here. I know it's about $120-ish, pending your book. But yeah, I have that as a strong lean at 120. I'd prefer this to be about 110, 115, where I'd actually fire on it. But, it's not a spot I love at the current price, but overall call it a strong lean in favor of Atlanta money line. Again, I don't trust Alcantara on the road, and I don't trust the Marlins bats to score runs. Muller is going to have some regression come his way. Will it happen here? It might. But the Marlins bats are just so reliant on home run balls. They do not string together collective hits, at least consistently. It's why their record is what it is. Their pitching's actually been relatively good this year, even their bullpen. But their hitting has been woeful. Okay, so onto the Royals Twins. Danny Duffy, Griffin Jacks, KC minus 135, total 10. First of all, this is the absolute nut ceiling of a total for this ballpark. So you will never see me bet an under in Kansas City's ballpark when they're flashing a number at 10. And I know you might look at it and be like, oh, this is an easy over with who's pitching. And there's probably some validity there because there is good likelihood that balls are going to leave the ballpark today in Kansas City. But it's not super warm there. Let me just confirm. Where's this game? Royals. So it's 90. It's actually warmer than I thought it was. Slight wind blowing in, but nothing that would deter you from wanting to bet an over. Again, you got to create yourself park perspectives or a park spectrum in terms of where you will no longer bet an over at a park and where you will no longer bet an under at a park. For me, Kansas City, this has a pitcher's park feel to it in the American League. And if they're going to hang a number at 10, this is like basically as high as it's going to get here. And Minnesota's kind of can't get out of their own way recently, but it's not like super bad. And they do draw the lefty in Duffy, who's been good, but he's certainly susceptible. For me, this is just another stay away spot. I know that I actually have 2 bets that I like today that I'll be giving out to these videos. I don't want to steer you wrong. Again, I'm not going to be that guy that's going to tell you, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this, or I lean this and then recap all the leans. I mean, I've never done that before. But I just want to be clear. That's why I'm not giving you perspective. I'm not going to even think about betting these games. But there's nothing I like in this spot. I mean, I'd argue there's some value in favor of Minnesota, some here at 130. But the problem is this kid Jax has been a dumpster fire. And Kansas City's at least starting to find some life with their bats. But again, this isn't a spot that I really want to plan to target. And I just see the Minnesota lineup came out, and they're still not like really where they need to be. I mean, looking up and down this lineup, it's okay, but it's not excellent. So yeah, just going to be a stay away spot. Okay, so Tigers, White Sox. This is actually, yes, a best bet from me here. I really like I'm just making sure the price is the same. I really like the White Sox team total over 4.5 here. So they draw Tyler Skubal, who's actually had a good season this year, and he comes off a really good start against Houston. However, this team, I mean, now of course I'm looking at this lineup and for the White Sox, and yikes. I know they're dealing with some injuries, but I mean, this lineup is a bit tough to love. Let me just confirm real quick who they are. Who's out for them in general, or is this just a game they're just sitting a bunch of dudes? No, so they're dealing with some severe injury bugs. However, the White Sox are scoring. So if you look at how they've been hitting recently, right? So they haven't scored less than 7 runs in 5 straight games, and they're just really getting a lot of hits. And again, Skubal to me is very vulnerable. I know that he's had a good season, and he does come from the left side, and now with all these injuries for the White Sox, that does make his life a little bit easier. However, this team still has enough pop up and down the lineup, and I think that they certainly have enough to get to Skubal, and we know how bad the Tigers' pen is, right? They're one of the worst in baseball. So the earlier the hook can come off on Skubal, the better all parties will be. Again, he comes off a few confident starts, right, against Houston and the Cardinals. And he's had quite a few quality starts in a row, or 4 or 5, 3 or 4 straight quality starts, only missing on one of them. And that was against the Cards, really because his pitch count flew up. He has a severe walk problem. And he is not exactly a stranger to the home run ball. So, I'd expect the White Sox with their current form to get guys on and move runners over and such. So I know that the White Sox are playing with a degraded lineup, but I do like them to get runs here. And I don't want to handicap the Tigers end of things because, look, Dallas Keuchel's been good, but he hasn't been excellent. And the Tigers have been hitting as well, right? So I don't necessarily want to try to over-handicap this game. But I do think the White Sox have some live bats today, and they get runners on. They're throwing up a ton of righties against Skubal. So I'd expect the White Sox to get a bunch of foot traffic en route to going over that number. And again, it's slightly less vig as well. So White Sox total over 4.5. I got that minus 105 at BetMGM. Okay, so moving on. Indians versus Houston. So, I mean, you have some severe balls betting Cleveland at this short price today. I know that the issue is Odorizzi has no business being a minus 165 favorite on the road versus anyone, which pending this lineup, I'll actually severely think about betting Cleveland's team total over because Odorizzi is a dude that has some severe walk problems. And Cleveland, while they've struggled a bit hitting recently, 3-2, 1-4 runs, this spot does set up nicely for them. And I know that they're missing some of their heavy right-handed bats, and along with Jose Ramirez, but I guess Eddie Rosario as well. I mean, this team is dealing with injuries, which I think goes back to the point of how big your balls are, laying or only grabbing 135 with them versus Houston here. But again, to counter it, and this is where I kind of have arrows going in different directions. Odorizzi is by no means deserving of a $160 favorite tag on the road, I'd argue, versus any team in baseball. I know that Houston's, of course, great, and Eli Morgan's been terrible. And nothing about Eli Morgan says he's going to start improving either. But again, a pitcher like Eli Morgan, I don't want to say he's due for a good start, but he's been getting a lot of rockets hit off him. But we know how that can be, right? In this sport, you can kind of let guys lace the ball off you, and they can just consistently find gloves. But overall, and as far as this total of 10, Cleveland's Park, this is as big of a total as you'll see in this park. So you're not going to see me wanting to bet that over. I'd actually very strongly lean the under here, to be honest. But again, I guess at that point, I'm telling you that I correlated speaking. I like Houston's team total under, but it'd have to get back up to 10. And I don't want to step in front of Eli Morgan here and hope that, his line drives fine gloves. So overall, a bunch of arrows going different ways for me here. It'll be a stay off spot. Oakland, Boston. So Cole Irvin, Garrett Richards. I can't stress this enough. I am not a Garrett Richards guy, and I used to be. It's not often that I take these complete 180s on pitchers. I really liked what I saw from Garrett Richards when he was with Los Angeles. Back then, I believe they were even Anaheim. However, he has been very difficult to watch this season. And I know that he's shown some brightness at times, but for the most part, he has been tough to watch. Cole Irvin is in the middle of a very good pitching stretch. However, I am not a Cole Irvin guy either, which would push me in the direction of liking this game over, but only very slightly. And I say very slightly because Oakland is probably one of, if not the best pitchers park in the American League, with that huge foul territory they have out there. And for me, look, Cole Irvin doesn't deserve to be $135 versus Boston. Now, if Boston is dealing with some injuries that I'm unaware of at this moment, then I could see why that might be justified. Just look real quick. Yeah, they're not dealing with anything crazy. And they've won a few in a row. For me, I get it. Cole Irvin's been good, but Boston's won 8 games in a row. You can get them at plus 125. For me, call that my strongest lean in the video. And again, look, Cole Irvin could pitch well here, but at plus 125, I get it. This has some steam moving in favor of Oakland, but that steam to me has opened up a number that's almost favorable enough for me to want to back it. I just hate Garrett Richards, so my own bias there will not make me want to bet this game and make me have a stronger lean in favor of the over, because I do think Boston's going to get to Irvin a bit, and Garrett Richards just really never has a clean start, so just going to be a stay away spot for me. Okay, so next game up. Angels, Baltimore. So this is going to be another best bet. And for those that saw the video from Friday, will probably know where I'm going here. Yeah, right back to the well. Orioles over, team total 3.5. Got that minus 115 bet MGM. For me, minus 115 bet MGM. I know Cobb's a better pitcher than, or Cobb, at least at his numbers, are better than Griffin Canning's. But at an advanced level, they are not at a surface level. But Alex Cobb is another pitcher, much like Griffin Canning, with reverse splits. He can't get righties out. He walks too many guys. He gives up home runs. And we saw Griffin Canning find himself in hot water yesterday early. Now, the Angels, I'll be honest, I went to sleep. I didn't even realize the Angels came back to win that game, which goes to show you why I said, I liked the Orioles to score, and I thought they were very live to win. However, I didn't really want any part. I didn't want any part of knowing how Aiken was going to pitch, how Keegan Aiken was going to pitch, or the Orioles' pen, right? And the Angels, do what they have to do to win. Now, the other thing that I like is that the Angels used their entire suite of bullpen guys yesterday, which I like. Which means I like this even more for today. They went to Cishek, Myers, and Iglesias, and not to say that those guys won't all come back out again today. They very well could, but there's obviously a little extra stress on all their arms. Iglesias threw almost 2 innings yesterday, but his pitch count was low, so I would expect him to be somebody they could bring back again. The Orioles got to Canning very early, and I think that Cobb is somebody that could create more foot traffic against. Again, this team just has righties that are hitting, and you saw it yesterday, and even Santander, who I believe comes from the left side, he hit that big 3-run double. He's righty. He does bat. He's a switch hitter. So, he hits that big 3-run double yesterday, and Mancini gets the party started with the homer, and then Leyba homers as well. Again, I'm not saying you're going to see the exact same thing today, but I just really like what I'm seeing from this Orioles team hitting wise. Again, another 8 hits, 6 walks. They're just getting runners on. They scored 7 runs yesterday, and we're only 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Actually, that's not bad, runners in scoring position, to be honest. And a lot of what they did was with 2 outs, so this isn't a team that really lets up regardless. To me, it's right back to the well. 3.5 is a small number for me, and it's hard for me not to like the spot again. So right back to the well with Orioles. What about Boston team totals? Should be low since they're dogs. I mean, it's not low because remember this park in Oakland, they're hanging a total of basically 10 at this park. So I'd assume the Red Sox team total is going to be 4. So you're going to need 5 runs from the Red Sox in this park, which not to say it's impossible. It's very possible. But it would be an in-game spot. Like if the Red Sox go 2 or 3 quiet innings and you can get like 2.5 or 3, then it's a bang. It's a bang spot from my end, at least. Okay, so next up, we have hold on. Where were we? Oh, did I skip? I skipped some games. Oh, geez, I'm getting the Holden end of things. Okay, so Nationals Dodgers, Paolo Espino versus Clayton Kershaw. I will be completely honest. This is a game I want no part of. The Nationals are hitting, so maybe that leaves some value on the Nationals right now. But the Kershaw's a whole different animal, and he has been not himself this year in the form of the true dominance that we're used to seeing from him. But he's still been very good. And the Dodgers are winning basically every game now, and even the Nationals got their lead early and still lost. So, to me, the line's justified for them, but it's melted in their winning streak. This is not going to be a spot. Look, there will be a time to step in front of the Dodgers. I don't know if this is the time with Kershaw going and the Nats throwing basically a glorified relief pitcher. So, yeah, overall, I have this line fair, and I don't want to step in front of the Dodgers here. Rockies cards, so Kyle Freeland, Wade LeBlanc. We'll call this my strongest lean of the video, and this would be the Rockies. Now, I know that it is very tough to love the Rockies when they play any team that has a bunch of pop in their lineup. However, the Rockies are home, and we know they score at home, and they get Wade LeBlanc here, who comes from the left side. And the Rockies have some severe K issues, and Wade LeBlanc doesn't strike anybody out. Now, the good thing with Wade LeBlanc is that he doesn't walk a lot of guys either. However, there expects to be a tremendous amount of hard contact here from the Rockies. And Kyle Freeland, while again, it's not exactly fun throwing a lefty at this Cardinals lineup with how many potent righties they have. I think he should be a bigger favorite here. Again, the Cardinals haven't shown me anything that makes me think that they're deserving of being a pick'em on the road here with Wade LeBlanc starting. And I know Wade LeBlanc's surface might look good at 3.27, but this dude has regression en route. The Rockies haven't exactly been hitting though, even though they've been home. But this is a typical get right spot for this offense. And I think Kyle Freeland outpitches Wade LeBlanc. So now the issue is, of course, the Rockies pen. So maybe you just do it first 5 with that. So we'll call the strongest lean for me the first 5 Rockies, as long as you can get like 110, 115 with them. Don't lay the half run, just take money line. Because for me, there should be very little reason why Kyle Freeland doesn't outpitch Wade LeBlanc here. Of course, Kyle Freeland's a guy that can make mistakes, and his ERA is woeful, but his advanced stuff's better. And I'd expect him to outpitch Wade LeBlanc through the first 5. So yeah, that's a strong lead for me. I already went through the Orioles Angels, so we got 2 more. So Diamondbacks, Giants, Jake Faria, Sammy Long. I will be completely honest. These are 2 pitchers I have very little data on myself. But I mean, the fact that San Francisco's minus 160 road favorite, I get it. The Diamondbacks have been tough to watch, but I mean, man, if that's not melted into the number, I don't think the Diamondbacks just want to win games anymore, though. So that's a separate element to this, right? And I will probably go on record saying I will not be betting the Diamondbacks money line the rest of the season. I'm not convinced this team wants to win anymore. They've been bringing up bullpen guys, like bad bullpen guys in weird situations. It just seems like they're trying to get a bunch of their younger, arms and bats opportunities, and that is not something you want when you're betting a team. So you can fade them if you like here. I know that the price is a little big though. It's all melted into the number. But from a value standpoint, I don't really see value on either side. Again, Arizona, if they're not trying to win games, you'd argue 170 is not high enough for the Giants. But again, I'll just stay off. Mariners, Rangers. So Marco Gonzalez, Jordan Lyles, Seattle minus 145, and to me, well deserved. Marco Gonzalez is a crafty lefty, and he's better than his ERA shows. And he draws a Texas team that severely struggles with left-handed pitching. Jordan Lyles is also a pitcher that many have enjoyed targeting as far as bats go. He does come from the right side, which is good for Seattle because Seattle cannot hit left-handed pitching. And Jordan Lyles is just a tough pitcher to watch or to back. He gives up a ton of hard contact. He walks a bit too many guys. I think it's about 3 per 9. He doesn't really strike out too many guys. Strikeout rate's about 8-ish or under 8 per 9. So yeah, for me, Marco Gonzalez is in a prime spot to pitch well here. Do I want to lay a half run on Marco Gonzalez first 5? I mean, not really, unless this number dips a little lower. But again, Texas is a tough team to want to back in this spot specifically. So I'll call this a lean for me in favor of Seattle, laying the half run first 5, because I do think they'll get to Lyles, and Gonzalez should pitch well enough to hold the lead late. Now the bolt depends. I mean, Seattle's pen's a mess along with the Rangers, so you could argue for over in the game, but for me, the best look for me in this game would be Seattle's first 5, lay the half. Overall, thank you everybody for watching. So we have the 2 bets I made today were White Sox over their number at 4.5 -105, and right back to the well with the Orioles over 3.5 team total -115. And again, you've probably seen I've been targeting team totals specifically over because I feel like these bets have come with less variance for me. I've been really struggling with what I'd consider certain things not playing out as per scripts that I've anticipated. And I'm just trying to kind of neutralize variance as much as I can. And I feel like if I can hone things in on just, one single team and one pitcher and their bullpens, it does make my life a little easier as far as what I'm up against. Like for instance, I think the White Sox win today, but I don't really want Dallas Keuchel's pitching to determine that, right? So I think they score today, which is why I wanted to bet them. And I think overall, the same thing with the Orioles. I don't want to have my bet reliant on Jorge Lopez, who has been bad, yes, but he hasn't been nearly as bad as his surface looks. But again, you have an Angels team that's hitting, and I just don't want any real part of it, to be honest. So just the Orioles, I'll stick to them, and they get a similar pitcher that they got yesterday. So again, same thing for me. Do you know where I can get the closing line? Charlie, I'm not sure on your question. If you're referencing how can you know where a line closed? I mean, the only way you could really know that would be you have to be in the sports book. You have to just check in on the sports book 10 minutes before the game starts. That's how you'll know what the total closes at. Unless you go to sites that show you that data, a site like maybe Vegas Insider, that'll show you what numbers. But that's not going to show you team totals. It's going to show you total games, and you have to correlate it. But overall, did you go over? Oh, you know what? I don't think I did go over the Padres-Phillies games, Leroy. What a mess. How did I miss that game? Wow, look at that. Skipped right over it. Zach Eflin, Yu Darvish. Good call. So San Diego -157, total 8.5. So Zach Eflin was actually supposed to pitch 2 days ago and now pitches off 2 extra days of rest. Some people think that's a good thing. I personally think it's a bad thing. Pitchers are creatures of habit. They like pitching every 5 days. When that kind of gets thrown off and when they're told they're going to pitch and then not pitch, that definitely throws a wrinkle in their game. And again, pitchers are creatures of habit. And I think Eflin's already kind of thrown off his game. And San Diego, I know Philly won yesterday on a really well pitched game by Zach Wheeler, who's been really good this year, just pounding in strikes. Eflin's a little different though. Now Eflin prior to this year has been much better at home. However, this year that really hasn't been the case. And Eflin's been, I know his ERA is 4.2, but he has not been good this year. I would argue for value on the Padres first 5. But again, it's kind of like melted in the number at 160. That's why I don't love it. And that's why it's not a bet I made. But very, very slight lean in favor of Darvish laying the half run first 5. Because again, I'm just not an Eflin guy by any means. And he's throwing him 2 days after his initial supposed start. So yeah, that would be where my head's at for that game. Overall, do I like the Mariners? I prefer the Mariners first 5 there, Chris. D-bags a little bit against. Couldn't agree more, Bob. Cards are worse because you want to find spots to take them. Cards are like the diamond. I'll tell you what, it's hard to, George or Jorge, it's hard to compare the Cards to the Diamondbacks because the Cards, or at least I think, are over 500. The Cards are trying to win baseball games. Diamondbacks are quite the opposite. What's up, Nathan? Happy 4th. I know I'm going through the comments late here, but overall, thank you, everybody, for watching. As I told you, we have the 2 team totals. I wish you all the best of luck with all your bets today. And as always, though, gamble responsibly. We'll be back tomorrow for the 4th. Me, Joey, and Holden talking a little more baseball. But other than that, Keg will hold down with a NASCAR show later for the NASCAR race tomorrow. I'll have a live show, probably betting with NBA and such tonight. But again, all that considered, if you don't catch it tomorrow, enjoy the extended holiday weekend. As always, folks, gamble responsibly, stay safe, and run pure, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.